Udo. I believed that it was destiny that made Prince Osawe Oba Esigi to succeed his father, Oba Ozolua, because their father loved Prince Idubo Arhuanran, the Duke of Udo, to be the king of the Great Benin Empire. He gave two conditions to Prince Idubo: that one, where the head of the royal sword, Ebe, that the king gave to Prince Idubo, touched ground, the place will be the capital, Benin Empire. The Duke of Udo missed that opportunity because he danced and used the royal sword, Ebe, to touch the ground in Benin. And secondly, their father told him that any place he was buried will be the capital city, and he still missed that chance, and his brother Esigi succeeded in burying his father in Benin. Oba Ewari the Great reigned from 1440 to 1473. He made his first son, Prince Kwaboyuwa, the Edaike, and appointed to his second son, Prince Ezuwaha, the Duke Enogi of Iyowa. Ezuwaha was not happy about not being allowed to aspire to rule after his senior brother's turn. After all, that was how his father became king. He reasoned in a quarrel over the issue. The two brothers died on the same day after a prolonged mourning period, accompanied with elaborate rites, for the two dead sons were called off. Oba Ewari consulted the oracle and was advised to blend the bloodlines of the Obas with that of Ogisos to ensure stability in the succession issue. The search for a maiden of marriageable age and descending directly from the last Ogiso produced Omuwa from Udo town in Ovia. She gave Oba Ewari two sons, Ezoti and Ukpame. Oba Ewari had another son, Olua, by a different mother from Omuwa's children. Oba Ewari asked his chiefs to do a personality assessment of who made the best Oba from among his three sons. The chiefs could not recommend any of the children for the throne. They described Ezoti, the oldest of the three sons, as stingy and likely to plunge the kingdom into prolonged hunger if he become Oba. Olua, the second in line, was described as a spendthrift, Okbetu Borozu, who would take less than 3 lunar months to squander the Oba's wealth, built up over a number of centuries, on silly and irrelevant programs just to look good in the eyes of the public. As for Okpame, they believed he would plunge the kingdom into endless welfare because his only passion and things that gave him happiness had to do with the sword. Oba Ewari, perplexed that none of his sons would make a good Oba, decided to stop bothering with innovations and return the kingdom to the equality of siblings process, which will guarantee the three sons ruling in turn. Oba Ezoti, 1473, succeeded his father to the throne in 1473 and reigned for only 14 days when he died from injuries inflicted on him in an attempt genocide on Coronation Day. Oba Olua, 1473 to 1481, ascended the throne after the assassination of his brother Oba Ezoti, who had a son, Prince Oweri, claiming legitimacy to the throne at the time of Prince Okpame quietly murders his nephew, Prince Owerri, in defense of Oba Eware's injunction that first-generation princes had first claim to the throne. Okpame escaped into northern Edo territories as a fugitive on the run to avoid punishment when the murder was discovered. There in the woods, he acquired the knight armor of Byzantine, origin from North Africa, thus making himself look fearsome and unassailable. His bizarre adventure led him to some battles in the jungle. He fathered the Ora people of today. The death of Prince Owerri, coupled with the continuing war-like actions of Prince Okpame, obviously influenced Oba Olua to keep his son, Prince Ijinwa, out of possible harm's way. Oba Olua arranged for his son, Prince Iginwa, to travel south to the riverine area, bedant in the apparentness of kingly power and authority, with a large retinue of officers and servants at his beck and call. Iginwa become the Olu of the Ishekiris. Oba Ozolwa, 1481 to 1504. After the death of Oba Olua, Okpame was invited to ascend the throne and he took the title of Oba Ozolwa. Two of Ozolwa's sons were kidnapped, Oduomomu, meaning thieves of children, Oduomomu, meaning thieves of children. During that period of the slave trade, Oba Ozolwa reintroduced the process of first son succeeding to the throne, with dukedom carved out for the other princes. The older of his two remaining sons, after he had lost two sons to the slave trade, was Osawe, who was named the Edaiken Oba in waiting. Idubo, the juniors to Osawe, was appointed the Duke of Udo, the hometown of Oba Ozolwa's mother, of the second largest and most important town in the kingdom at the time, Idubo, known as Arhuanran in Udo. The giant of Udo was not happy about playing second fiddle to his senior brother, Prince Osawe. Oba Esigi, 1504 to 1550. Oba Ozolwa's first son, Prince Osawe, succeeded him to the throne and took the title of Oba Esigi. The feud between Oba Esigi and his brother, the Duke of Udo, had been building up from the day of their birth. They were products of two of the wives of Oba Ozolwa. Idia, the subject of the famous Festac mask, was the mother of Oba Osawe, while Oomi was Idubo's mother. Oomi gave birth to Idubo a few hours before Osawe arrived, but because Idubo did not immediately cry at birth, Osawe, who did, was reported first to the king according to tradition. By the time Idubo cried to enable the mother report his birth, the king had performed the proclamation rites of Osawe as first son. Idubo, while growing up, was very bitter about this treatment. He more than on one occasion asked his mother if his father was his true father, to be so callous as to take away his birthright in such a mean fashion. As the Duke Enogi of Udo, Idubo refused to accept subordinate role to his brother, Oba Esigi, and at first tried to make Udo the capital of Benin Kingdom with himself as king. It didn't take too long before the two brothers went to war. The war was difficult, bitter, and long drawn out. Arhuanran had two sons, Ukpamarabira and Onioni. They were ruling along with their father, and before the war, Bamabira died. Before Arhuanran moved from home for the last battle with his brother Esigi, he told his son Onioni to stay at home and wait for him to return, and told his household that when they hear the sound of the magical bell that he placed at home, they will know that his brother had conquered him. As he was in the war front, he saw someone fighting like the way he himself is fighting. He used a powerful word that the sword should immediately kill that warlord. Agbereni megbeni umozo gbe rie Yahweh. At that moment, the warrior died, and at last he found out that the man was his son, Onioni. He continued the fight until there was no winner between his brother and himself. As he was returning home, he was running to get home on time, and because of his movements, the magical bell at home was sounding, and they all believed that his brother had conquered him. The wife moved to a river close to the lake, Odigi. As soon as Arhuanran got home, he found out that his wife had jumped into river, and he also jumped into the lake, Odigi. Some of the people of Udo then moved to Fan Ondo town deep in Yoruba territory. Before jumping into the lake, he left his Ivie necklace, the precious bead necklace, symbol of authority in Benin lands, dangling from a tree branch where it could be easily found. Only the Oba could inherit such trophies of dead or conquered leaders and nobles. So out of excitement, he tried on his neck for size. His brother's humble surrender necklace symbol. He became mentally disoriented immediately. He put the necklace on his neck. Removing the necklace from his neck did not make any difference, so he was rushed back to Benin in that hopeless state. His mother, Idia, immediately located a Yoruba Babalawo mystic at Ugbo Ilaje in the riverine area and brought him to Benin to work on the king's spiritual ailments. He cured the Oba of his ailments, and the queen, after rewarding him generously, prevailed on him, the Yoruba Awo, to settle permanently in Benin to continue to render his service. He set up home at Ogbelaka quarters, where his descendants have thrived until this day. Finally, Arhuanran did not die inside the lake Odigi, for he was still coming out in the night to parade the town of Udo for protection. Every night that Arhuanran used to come out of the water, all the children in Udo town always cried, and the people of Udo decided to make an appeal to Arhuanran spiritually. Since that time, he stopped coming out of the lake Odigi. The river that the wife entered was in the opposite direction of the lake Odigi, and a road separated the river from the lake. Once in a year, the river where the wife jumped in always crossed the road to meet the lake Odigi, where Arhuanran lived up to these days. It is forbidden to touch or drink the water from the lake Odigi. It is also forbidden to kill or eat any animal from around the lake Odigi. It was told that around 1955, a group of Udo people were returning from their farm when they saw a young boy shooting bells close to the lake Odigi, and a stone dropped into the lake Odigi. Immediately, there was a loud voice that sounded like a thunder from the lake Odigi, and many trees around the place were shaking as if heavy wind had blown. At that moment, the boy became sick and he was rushed home for treatment. Therefore, Udo used this opportunity to tell the public that Arhuanran did not die but still in living in the lake Odigi, as there is no proof or evidence of his death. By tradition and custom, Benin Kingdom does not believe in the lust of hacking train in market. And as a result of this, our Duke Arhuanran is not dead. And if he was dead, he would have been given a befitting burial as tradition and custom demands by the Benin Kingdom, and all the necessary rites performed for him, for he merited a royal funeral. If by commission or omission of history or delay of historical proof, the death of Arhuanran and any remnant of him would prove is found today, the necessary rites will be carried out. We are giving you what we know of Arhuanran today to avoid perfection of history. We cannot change this version of this history unless there is the need for that, and the need does not come from the administrator and the moderators of Great Udo, but from the elders of the land.